Is sponsored by Ram Trucks, built to serve.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to First Things First. I'm Jenna Wolf. We got the Soup guys here. We got Nick. We got Wilds. Brian Westbrook joining. Look at the three of you coordinating all your outfits and everything. It's adorable. Coming up on a Wednesday morning, we got a fun show. Hey, did the Seattle Seahawks almost trade away Russell Wilson to eventually get Baker Mayfield? We'll toss that one around. Are we a little bit closer to the return of the NBA season? And Kirk Cousins is going to stop by. Got a lot to talk to him about, but we will start this morning in Dallas, where all eyes are on still unsigned Dak Prescott. He may not have a Super Bowl win or an MVP trophy, but he certainly wants to be paid like he does. And that right there rubs Joe Theismann, who does have all those things, the wrong way. Theismann said this: "You're not a top 5 quarterback in the National Football League. You're a good football player. You have the potential to be better, but what have you done? If I was advising Dak Prescott, I would say, take the money." Nick, what do you think? Is Theismann right here?
Yeah, I actually, surprisingly, totally agree with Joe Theismann here for a number of different reasons. One is, according to the latest reporting on this from Mike Fisher, who's been all over this down in Dallas, the Cowboys' offer to Dak right now is $35 million per year, around $110 million guaranteed, and a 5-year deal. And the issue was Dak wanted a 4-year deal. He understandably wants a shorter deal so we can have another bite at the free agency apple. And the Cowboys were holding fast a 5-year deal, but the money part was mostly agreed to. Now, the latest news on Deshaun Watson might have thrown a wrench into that, because while I believe Deshaun is better than Dak, I think most of the football world believes Deshaun is better than Dak. Deshaun is not more accomplished than Dak. Deshaun certainly has not been healthier than Dak, doesn't have a better track record of winning than Dak, and his numbers are supposedly in the $40 to $42 million a year range, which could reset all these negotiations for Dak Prescott. But the reason I think Theismann is right, Jenna, is because with the signing of Andy Dalton, does Dak Prescott really want to roll the dice on what if I have a really tough stretch? If we show the Cowboys' schedule, what if around the middle of the season, when we play some very tough defenses and some very losable games, what if at Philly in Week 8 I play poorly? And then that Steelers defense led by Minkah Fitzpatrick and TJ Watt give me trouble. And then coming off the bye, that Vikings defense beats me. And then a couple weeks later, I have the Ravens defense. All of a sudden, would there be murmurs? Would there be talks? Should the Cowboys, if I'm under the franchise tag, go ahead and put Andy Dalton out there for the Week 14 game against Cincinnati, see if we can jumpstart this offense, and then all of a sudden, am I going to be a man without a country? And I do think there is, even though Wilds at times it's overstated, I do think there's value to being the Cowboys quarterback, not only in the marketability, but you have Amari Cooper, you have Zeke, you have CeeDee Lamb. You know they are a team that is obsessed with winning. So at some point, you know, pigs get fed, hogs get slaughtered, and you worry if you're Dak Prescott's advisor that he might be pushing this a touch too far, Wilds.
Yeah, that makes sense, Nick. I thought you said something interesting when you talked about getting another bite at the free agent apple, because I think that's going to be not just a small bite. I think it's going to be a huge chomp for a few reasons. One is the new CBA, players are getting more money than ever. They're getting 48% of all league revenue. And get this is from an ESPN article. That share can climb as high as 48.8% if the league's TV revenues increase, and this is not a mistake, by 120% or more. So they're already kicking around a 120% increase. So where's that money coming from? Well, all the TV deals are being renegotiated, and you've got the FANG sitting on the sidelines. You got Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google. If they come in with all of their cash, who knows what's going to happen to the salary cap? Now, it's hard to predict. The world is upside down. Businesses are upside down. So I think we can learn something from the last round of NBA negotiations. So in 2014, ESPN and Turner renegotiated their deals. Here's where the top salaries were 2014. Kobe's at 23. Joe Johnson signed that big Nets deal. Melo's at 22. Fast forward 5 years, This is the new cap, the new money. And we're at, Steph Curry's at 40, Chris Paul's at 38.5, and Westbrook's at 38.5. It's a ton of money. So I know it seems like Dak should just grab it, but that next bite at the apple, Jenna, is going to be a huge bite.
But what you said there, Wilds, was so interesting. It's hard to predict. Nobody would have predicted we'd be in the predicament that we're in now. We don't know what the future holds. So, Brian, I'll ask you, if you're Dak Prescott, you look at this Cowboys offer of what Nick was mentioning, $110 million guaranteed or in that neighborhood. Do you agree with Joe Theismann? Should he just take this deal at this point?
Well, I think Nick, as well as Kevin, have made very good points. Nick basically saying that, you don't want to be greedy. But Kevin also saying there's a bunch of money on the back end if you can get a 4-year deal versus the 5-year deal. And so for me, as a former player, I always think about it in this way. And how much risk do I want to take? Dak took an awful lot of risk this past season by just playing, by going out there and playing without a long-term deal, and he performed well. I think at this point, if you're saying I can get 35 a year and 110 guaranteed, to me, that sounds like an awful lot of money, unless you can get $42 million a year and a lot more guaranteed. And so I think this, you get paid off for production and potential. He produced a bunch last year, Dak did, and he has more potential to be better with more weapons offensively with CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, as well as Zeke, and a better coach. I think he'll have much better numbers, but at some point, you have to say enough is enough. I don't think there's a rush at this point because the deadline is July 15th. And so I would take it right up into the deadline. Remember, Zeke didn't get his money until 4 days before the season started. So if I'm Dak, I'm not rushing to the point where I'm going to sign it today, but I'm certainly going to take it right up until that deadline and then see what Jerry's willing to do.
But, Nick, it's not like this has just been going on for a couple months now. We've been having this discussion for 15, 16, 17 months already. I'm starting to feel a little nervous here. Is there a possibility, maybe the Cowboys are too, is there a chance this deal doesn't actually get done?
Oh, it's absolutely on the board that July 15th comes and goes. Dak Prescott has not agreed to a new deal, and he plays this year under the franchise tag. And I'm sure what Dak's thinking is, well, the franchise tag for me this year is $31.5 million. If they were to do it again next year, it's $37 million. So now I'm at $69 million over 2 years. That's $35 million per year. Both of those are fully guaranteed, assuming you get franchise tagged again. And then I hit free agency, and maybe some of that FANG money that Wilds alluded to is available to me then. Maybe I can have the best of all worlds. And that is, listen, we have Kirk Cousins coming on the show. That is what Kirk did. Franchise tag me. Franchise tag me. Now I get a fully guaranteed deal. Now I extend that deal early. And Kirk's going to end up one of the wealthiest players in league history. So I understand the reasoning there. And we can talk to Kirk about this, but if not for the grace of God, there go your career. And there is the concern that in this specific sport, that is an enormous risk to take and an enormous gamble. And unlike Kirk, who I think went from a somewhat dysfunctional franchise in Washington to a well-run franchise in Minnesota, you go from the Cowboys to, if you play this year under the franchise tag and they say, you know what, we see where this is going. What can we trade Dak for a couple first-round picks? Is Jacksonville done with the Gardner Minshew experiment and they're excited to pay him $40 million a year? You could make an argument $35 million in Dallas could be worth more and could be more fulfilling for Dak than $40 million elsewhere, Wilds. And so I understand where he's at, but I think it's a dangerous game he could be playing, Kevin.
Nick, I'm going to throw it right back to you. What do you think Mahomes' next salary is going to look like? His full contract. I don't think you can give me a number that I'll be shocked at.
Yeah, so let's assume it's 5 years. 5 years, 5 times 45. 5 years, $225 million, $170 million guaranteed, and I'd be happy. I'd take it.
Wow.
That's a deal.
I mean, I think that if Deshaun Watson's talking about 40 to 42, what do you do? And by the way, everyone's bringing up Mahomes. I'll be very quick here. If Lamar has another excellent season, Lamar Jackson's next in line too. He's won the MVP. He's gotten his team to the 1 seed. If he stays healthy and plays, doesn't have to win the Super Bowl, plays one good playoff game, Lamar also, which is wild. To your point, we might have to have a new rule about quarterback salaries. They account for 15% of your cap, but you can pay them whatever. You mentioned that yesterday. I wonder if the league, Jenna, moves towards that at some point.
I'm telling you, in my next life, I'm coming back as a top 3 quarterback in this league. It'll be easy. And all that money.